Okie doke. Hello. Greetings. Good evening. Happy Friday, guys. Welcome to the Sabby Sab Show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. Happy Friday, guys. Shout out to everyone that's watching on YouTube, Rockfin, and Twitter. Welcome, welcome all. I want to give quick shout outs to people in the chat. What's going on? Lawrence Johnson says 19.5K subscribers, getting close to 20K. Yeah, that's right, Lawrence. Spread the word. Shout out to Emoji. Waiting here is better than listening to most other shows. LOL. Oh, geez. Wow. Mia, agree, emoji. Oh, man. You guys are coming out with the punch. Bob K, there are several great channels out there. Oh, something's going on in the chat here. Shout out to Angela, says, hello, everyone. Good to be here. Greetings, Cool Blue. Hello, everyone. Hello to you, too. What's going on, Strunk Veek? Hey, I like that. Shout out to Terry Conley, says, hello, fam. Greetings, Kami John, says, aloha. Aloha to you, too. What's going on? Christine says hello. Greetings. Eric T. Red says happy RBN Friday. Shout out to John Kemper says, hey, Angela. Greetings. Extra Bulla says, hi, kids. What's going on? Serena says hello, comrades. Hello to you, too. And I'm not sure what that's a picture of, but greetings. What's going on? Comrade Cam says, Sabby, comrade. I'm a little silly tonight. Shout out to Cameron X says, hi, Sabby. I'm in Twitter jail right now. Thank goodness for RBN. Oh, no. What did you say? What did you do? Shout out to Cape Socialist says, you the Dragon Slayer, Sabby. Oh, thanks so much. Greetings. The Cool Man says, hey, Sab, seeing you makes my day. Thank you so much. Shout out to Puts the Mouse. Hey, Sabby. Hello. Greetings, greetings. Welcome. Where Pilgrim says, hey, everybody. Shout out to Eric says, hi, everyone. What is going on, guys? So I have two stories I want to talk about tonight. One of them actually was just brought to my attention recently by Eric T, who's actually in the chat. I was not aware of this story. I'm not sure if other people know about the story either, but I think we really need to talk about it because it's another case of police brutality gone incredibly wrong, incredibly wrong. But let's go ahead and get into it. What am I going to talk about tonight? I'm going to go ahead and share my thumbnail here for you. Boop-a-boop. Okay, tonight we are discussing progressives blamed for Biden's failure. Well. What are people saying about the Justice Democrats and Joe Biden's failure as a president? I want to get into that story. And I'm also going to discuss justice for Randy Cox. Now, that's the story I told you I was not aware of. So I'm pretty sure most of you probably haven't heard about it either. It's not getting enough mainstream attention. So I do want to talk about that tonight. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Someone was just asking me a question and I just lost it. Bob K, the 60-shot dude. No, that was Jalen Walker. I covered that story on my channel. This is a different story that has not received much attention. So I definitely want to go ahead and I'm going to get started with that story actually. So Randy Cox, I want to remind you guys of the story of Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray was arrested in Baltimore. He was the one that died in police custody. So they put him into the back of, I think you call it a paddy wagon. I think that's what they're called. They put him into the back of one of those. Well, they kind of threw him in there. Let's just be real. And he didn't survive. I want you to remember that story because this is a similar situation. Let me go ahead and share this here. Now, this took place in New Haven, Connecticut. And again, I was totally like blind about this incident. Haven't heard about it on mainstream media. I'm not sure if independent media has covered it. I think this story has been somewhat buried a little bit. So I do want to make sure that we cover this tonight. So let me go ahead and share this article here from MSN, and then I'm going to show you the actual video. So this goes to show you how little this incident has been covered. The title of this article is "Who is Randy Cox?" So that right there lets you know people are really not talking about this story. So definitely be sure to pass this on to as many people as possible, you guys. We got to make sure people know about this. Who is Randy Cox? Outrage after Black man paralyzed in a police van. Now, this article came out June 28th. I just heard about the story from Eric like 2 days ago. So that goes to show you. A shocking video has been released. Let me go ahead and pause this here because I don't want the video to start yet. A shocking video has been released of the moment a Black man was paralyzed when his neck was broken as his head smashed into the metal wall inside a police van that stopped suddenly. Now, that's according to his lawyer. What happens next is almost impossible to watch as Richard Randy Cox, 36 years old, lies motionless and begs for help. But although police requested an ambulance for him, he is hauled out of the van by his feet, thrown into a wheelchair by officers, booked into jail, and then dragged along the ground by his arms with his head slumping down. He is then dragged into a cell where his ankles are cuffed. Despite begging for help and telling the police he's been seriously hurt, his pleas are dismissed, with one officer repeatedly insisting Cox just drank too much. Now, this is another example of people not believing Black pain. It doesn't just happen with Black women in case of pregnancy. It doesn't just happen with that. It also happens with Black men as well. I'm going to show you that video in just a second, but he was trying to let them know that he was in pain and they didn't believe him. Let's go back into the article here. The incident happened on June 18th in New Haven, Connecticut. So it happened June 18th and they published this article June 28th. That was the delay between the time of the incident and the time that it was actually covered. June 18th in New Haven, Connecticut, but the footage was only released this week by attorney Ben Crump after he took on Cox's case. Now, you guys may be familiar with Ben Crump. He was also involved in the George Floyd case as well. The lawyer, who also represents the family of George Floyd, the Black man murdered by a white police officer in Minnesota in 2020, whose death sparked a wave of Black Lives Matter protests, said the officers involved in the Cox incident have been placed on leave. By the way, that's just standard procedure at a lot of police departments. They place them on leave. A lot of times it's paid leave, just FYI. Just wanted to point that out there. Crump, who mostly works on cases involving civil rights, catastrophic injuries, and wrongful deaths, tweeted the video on Monday. Sharing the footage with his followers, he tweeted, "This video is horrific. Randy Cox was put into a police van without seat belts and after an abrupt stop was thrown into the wall head first. We literally witnessed his neck break. As he was still lying on the van floor, he told the officers that he couldn't move. What did they do? So I'm going to go ahead and go down to this here, and then I'll come back into the article. So let's go ahead and see the video here. Just have to stop share and share that video. So I want to see also how many people saw this video, because let's see. All right, this video has 1.1 million views. And I want you to ask yourself again, let me know in the chat. Do you know if anyone covered this story? Let me know. Okay. Here we go.
All right, my man. Step in there.
All right.
All right, step right in there.
Got it? One leg at a time.
One leg at a
Watch
time.
your head.
Watch your head, all right? I'm stopping. I'm going to check you out. What happened? What? You fell.
Yeah,
What happened? Can you move at all?
I can't move.
What? How your leg is all the way up there?
Understand me. Listen, brother.
All right, I can't move you, so I have to hold on. I'm going to have to go get an ambulance.
Listen, no.
Huh?
Yes, but understand.
Go ahead.
I fall. I cannot move my arms.
All right, do not move. I can see moving your arm.
No.
Okay.
Look at my hand.
All right, hold on.
Help.
171.
171.
Can you start a signal 1? The subject in the van, he said he fell inside the van and he can't move. So I'm on my way to detention right now. So please, can you start me signal 1 over there?
Cops, either we can move you or you can wait till AR moves you.
I cannot move.
Slide down, my man.
No, Jay.
Yo, slide down so we can get out of here.
Look. If you gotta drive me, do what you gotta do.
All right.
Fuck what I like. I'll let me relax for a bit.
All right, there you go.
You're almost there. Gotta get your shoulders out. Ready?
Yeah,
1, 2, 3. Stand up. There you go.
Get up.
How you making out? Ready? Actually, go over here. Get the Huh?
You ain't cracking. You just drink too much. No, you drink too much.
Okay.
Sit up.
We're gonna take you out. What's your
I can't feel shit, bro.
Sit up.
Stop playing around. Oh my God, bro.
Yeah, sit up. You're doing extra shit. Sit up. Sit up. What else did you have? Did you have any drugs and alcohol?
Listen, no.
You're not fine. How much? Okay. How much did you have to drink?
First and foremost, I don't know who that police officer there, who she is, the female police officer, but I sincerely hope she's been taken care of. There's been some type of accountability held towards her. Because what kind of disturbs me about this, other than the fact that he broke his neck, is the fact that she is continuing to insist that he drank too much. That's really appalling to me. Listen, I've seen some drunk people, but I've also seen them be able to move. It was very obvious to me when they pulled him out of the paddy wagon, his head slumped down. So that right there let you know something isn't right. So screw her. Like, this is ridiculous.
Oh my God, yeah, fucking broke my heart.
Blow a kiss. Huh? Just blow a kiss. He's perfectly fine. You want to put these on him? Yep. Hold on, Ron. Hold on, Ron.
All right.
Okay. Now, that was the post here from Ben Crump.
All right, my man. Step in there.
All right.
Sorry. That was the post here from Ben Crump. One of the things I noticed, let me mute this, and I just want to fast forward to the part where you can see inside the van. Aren't those seatbelts right there? These straps over to the right. Let me come in further so you guys can see, because it's actually zoomed out. So let me go in a little bit further. The straps over here to the right. 1, 2. What are those? I've never been inside a paddy wagon, so I don't know. Are those restraints or seatbelts of some sort? Because he was not buckled in. And if you're not buckled in and you're handcuffed, your hands are behind your back, how are you going to prevent yourself when they made that abrupt stop? How are you going to prevent yourself from falling? And it wasn't like he could put his hands in front of him to stop him from his head from hitting the door. So why wasn't he buckled in? A kid said, Sabby, please consider those in the video are persons of color. So it must be said how not only white cops mistreat everyday folks. Exactly. What did I tell you guys before? Even when it comes to black police officers, they're blue first and black second. They protect the police department first. Now, let me come out of here. Attorney Crump goes on to say they dismissed his pleas as lies instead of offering immediate medical aid. And that's the point right here. Do I believe police officers are trained to do medical aid? No, not necessarily, but they didn't even call for help. Not the first time that this has happened. Instead of offering immediate medical aid, officers dragged him off the van and threw him into a wheelchair that may have exacerbated his life-threatening injuries. Randy was brutalized when there was no reason for the police to do so. That's the other thing. Why were they so rough with him? He was handcuffed. He wasn't trying to lunge at them. He wasn't resisting any type of arrest. He was helpless at that point. He goes on to say, now Randy Cox continues to fight for his future. He's paralyzed from the chest down and has to use a breathing tube. His quality of life is forever diminished. He needs accountability. So you guys pass this on to as many people as possible. Hashtag justice for Randy Cox. Because I don't think many people know about this story. Now let's go back into the article here. because I want to explain why they arrested him in the first place. So here we go. All right, let's get into this. Cox had been arrested at a block party on Saturday, June 18th, when another attendee reported he was carrying a gun. Crump says his client was arrested without incident for unlawfully possessing a firearm and then placed into a police van without seatbelts. His head hit the back of the wall of the van when he was thrown down the vehicle following an abrupt stop. A statement issued by Crump's office says, Officer Oscar Diaz and other officers did not follow protocol to wait for medical assistance and dismissed his pleas as lies. Cox was thrown into a wheelchair that may have exacerbated his life-threatening injuries. The officers involved in the incident have been placed on leave. Crump is due to hold a press conference today. That was Tuesday, June 28th. In the statement he released ahead of the event, he said Randy's quality of life will forever be diminished by irresponsible actions of Oscar Diaz and the other New Haven police officers while he was under their custody. Law enforcement respecting every life they interact with and are responsible for is imperative for building trust with communities they serve, especially communities of color. As Randy Cox continues to fight for his life and future, we will fight for justice for him, his family, and the New Haven community. Acting Police Chief Regina Rush Kittle said, while the Connecticut State Police continues to take the lead on the investigation of the incident involving Mr. Richard Cox, after careful consideration of the video footage I saw, I have made the determination that all of the officers involved in the transport of handling Mr. Cox when he arrived at our detention facility should be placed on administrative leave for potential breaches of police protocol. She describes the treatment of Cox unacceptable. Now, that's the police chief letting you know they did not follow protocol. Now, that's fine and dandy, but how are they going to be held accountable? Placing them on leave, to me, that's not accountability. Because right now, based on what I saw from that video, I believe that family can sue for damages. I believe that family can sue to the police department. More people need to talk about this. I'm going to go to some of the comments here in the chat. MJ Anti-Imperialist Party said, as sad as it is, I am not surprised this happens. You are never in safe hands with the police and their stations and jails. Rocco Vici said, and they changed the police accountability law last year in Connecticut. I didn't realize that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Rocco. John Kemper only saw on Twitter. Okay. A kid, Sabby only seen the clip in social media. Please consider EMT and essential workers are trained to not move a person that has fallen. You know, I'm glad you brought that up, a kid, because I do remember I had to learn first aid like back in the day. I was a camp counselor at one point, and we had to learn first aid before the campers arrived. And one of the things that they taught us, if someone has fallen and they say they can't move, not to move them. You call for medical assistance and let them handle that situation, but you're not supposed to move them. Nat Rando said Diaz told him he was getting an ambulance. Yeah, what happened to that? Big Mad Crab said, I'm sure if we just vote, all of this will be fixed. You see why we say defund the police? They're not doing their job. What is this, Septian? I was watching Kit and Jimmy and saw the title, Sabby tried to tell y'all. Oh man, I had to check. I saw like part of it. I didn't get to see the whole thing. But I actually had it kind of playing in the background, at least part of it. But I'll have to check that out. That's funny. Sabby trying to tell y'all. Oh man. I don't know what to say except please share this story with as many people as possible. There should be just as much attention on this as there was on George Floyd, on all the other major police brutality incidents. And this is something I've been telling you guys before. A lot of times, these events happen more often than people realize. You just don't hear about all of them. They select the media. They select the stories they want to tell. Peace Dove says Connecticut has always been known for the worst 16-inch redneck cops. New Haven, I have to say, I don't know if everyone is aware, but a lot of people, when they think of New Haven, they think of Yale. It's not just Yale. New Haven actually is, I have to double check the stats, but it's one of the most unsafe cities in Connecticut. Just because there's an Ivy League school there doesn't mean it's this wealthy town. So that's right, Kat. Absolutely. Many cops of color are as abusive as fuck. Yep. And I've seen it. I've seen it in person. I've seen black cops also abuse black suspects in person. They're blue first. So please pass that story on to as many people as possible. Hopefully the family is able to sue, get some kind of compensation. But I mean, he's on a breathing tube. And people can say, well, he shouldn't have broken the law. So that means he should be on a breathing tube? Terrible. Terrible. I want to go ahead and get into our second story tonight. And this one is about progressives ruining Joe Biden's performance as president. Okay, so look, I just need a sip of tea real quick. Sorry. I'm trying not to laugh. I have two clips to show you about this, but yes, this is the message that is going around on mainstream media now, that the reason why Joe Biden is not doing a good job is because of the progressives in the Democratic Party. It's their fault. And what I think is really interesting is that mainstream media, and that includes CNN, by the way, mainstream media is saying that Joe Biden is not doing a good job. But every progressive congressman, congresswoman that has been interviewed by CNN, by MSNBC, have said that Joe Biden is doing a good job. AOC has been notorious for it, by the way. And I said this last night on my show. I really believe that AOC and Ro Khanna have been offered some type of political advancement for their career in politics. I think that's why they are heavily running cover for Joe Biden. Now, AOC, she'll say a little bit of things that make her still appear to be credible to DSA members, other progressives, but ultimately, she is going onto these shows and she is saying that Joe Biden is doing a great job. Ro Khanna is doing the same. In fact, Ro Khanna is now telling people that we need to back Joe Biden, and he won for a reason. Bakari Sellers, on the other hand, has come out and said, no, he's not doing a good job. So why would the corporate, quote unquote, non-progressive Bakari Sellers, why would he come out and say he's not doing a good job, but the so-called progressive per se, Ro Khanna, is defending Joe Biden? I believe that Ro Khanna has been handpicked to be the next president for the Democratic Party. That is what I believe. Not for 2024, but maybe in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are trying to run a Ro Khanna AOC ticket. Mark my words. Thank you for the super chat, Cool Blue. If Oscar-winning actress Susan Sarandon single-handedly cost the 2022 Democrats the Congress, I thank her in advance. They blame Susan Sarandon for everything. They said on the news it was supposed to be sunny and it's raining. It's Susan Sarandon's fault. Anywho, let's go ahead and get into this first clip where they are pointing fingers at the progressives. It's their fault that Joe Biden is doing a bad job. I can't even make this up. Shout out to Case Study QB for this clip, always doing great work. This is Fox News. This is Stuart Varney blaming the progressives. Let's go ahead and get into it.
When the lady who used to run the is to admit that the original mistake was ending America's energy independence.
Amen.
By cutting energy output from day one of this administration. That was the writing on the wall. That's when inflation started. That's when Putin got his idea to start invading Ukraine, because he knew that we're going to be energy short. That's when the lady who used to run Germany, I can't remember, Angela Merkel, that's the very moment when she cancelled plans to import American liquefied natural gas.
Well, then, Stuart, if that was the moment, then why doesn't he just turn the car around and go back and say, you know what, I made a mistake?
The Greens won't let him. Do you think that AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the rest of the progressives, do you really think that they would say, okay, Joe, okay, go ahead, Mr. President, this is how we fix it. We're okay with that.
We would find out exactly how many are in there, how many progressives there are in the party, because they failed miserably in their primaries. AOC has no coattails.
But they run the party.
She's the queen of queens.
They run the party.
But that's their choice. That they don't do it in numbers, but we'll see.
Oh, dear. Where do I begin? How can they come on every day and tell these blatant lies and then look themselves in the mirror the next day? How can they do this? Let's walk through some of the things that he said here. Now I want to go back. Going to go back to this part here. All right, let's start there.
Got his idea to start invading Ukraine because he knew that we're going to be energy short. That's when the lady who used to run Germany, I can't remember, Angela Merkel, that's the very moment when she cancelled plans to import American liquefied natural gas.
Well, then, Stuart, if that was the moment, then why doesn't he just turn the car around and go back and say, you know what?
So he's saying, why doesn't Joe Biden just turn the car around and go back? Because he doesn't want to. They kill me with this. They kill me. Like, duh. Now he's going to go on and say, oh, it's the progressives' fault. They've taken over the party. You know, I wish they were using their leverage like that. I wish the progressives in the Democratic Party were doing those things. I wish they were taking over the party. Give me a break. He's speaking as though there's like 100 of them. There are not. And they've been voting along with the corporate Democrats. They've been siding with them. Let's remember, they didn't even endorse Nina Turner. AOC came in and endorsed last minute. It was a half-ass endorsement. They don't mention that, though, in this discussion. I wish the progressives were fighting as hard as they claim that they are. I wish Bernie Sanders was actually using his independent title for some type of leverage, some type of gain in return. I wish those things were happening. They're not happening. And I sincerely hope whoever watches Fox and Friends, whoever's watching this segment, I sincerely hope they do not believe this garbage. Again, they can't point to one example that proves that this is happening. Not one. Let's go on.
I made a mistake.
The Greens won't let him. Do you think that AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the rest of the progressives, do you really think that they would say, okay, Joe, okay, go ahead, Mr. President, this is how we fix it. We're okay with that.
We would.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying that Joe Biden is not doing what he should do because the progressives won't let him. Are you kidding me? Is he serious right now? Look, it's the other way around. If the progressives were actually running the party, if they were really like doing that, we would have student loan debt would be canceled. Joe Biden won't do it. We'd have Medicare for all. Joe Biden won't do it. We'd have the $15 minimum wage, which it should be higher than that by now. We would have that. But 8 Democrats voted against it. How's that for you? So they're blaming the progressives. Are they blaming Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin for preventing these bills from passing all the time? No, they're not. They're not going to mention them at all because they like Democrats like Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin because they're corporate and they serve corporate interests. Those are the kind of Democrats that they want in. Especially Stuart Varney. He's awful. He's awful. He doesn't want the workers to have any rights. You should watch him on Fox Business. He doesn't like the unionization that's going on. He doesn't want the workers to have any rights. He doesn't want the American people to get anything. Let's go back.
Find out exactly how many are in there, how many progressive there are in the party, because they failed miserably in their primaries. AOC has no coattails.
But they run the
she's the
party.
queen of queens.
They run the party.
But that's their choice.
He said they failed miserably in the primaries. That's true. Most of the progressives, the newer ones that are coming in, most of them that have already had their races have lost in the primary. Stuart Varney goes on to say, but they're running the party. They're running the party. Can't point to one policy that proves that. Not one.
That they don't do it in numbers, but we'll see.
They're so fake. They're such liars. And they don't stand alone. I have another clip that discusses how the progressives have actually hijacked the Democratic Party. Not just joined the Democratic Party, they've actually hijacked it. Now, was that the plan for Justice Democrats going into the Democratic Party? Absolutely. That's what was supposed to happen. That is not what has been happening. I told you guys this before. Cori Bush's office isn't even allowed to talk. That's what word on the street is in DC. Come on. I don't know how people can believe this. I don't know how people can believe this when they showed you they wouldn't support Nina Turner. They supported Shontel Brown, who was the corporate Democrat. I don't understand how people can actually watch that segment and buy it. But there's another one. Shout out to Case Study QB for this segment as well. Case is doing the damn thing. Doing the damn thing. All right. So Case Study QB says corporate Democrat Don Peebles expresses his worry about the far left taking over the party. Like, they kill me. They kill me with this. And this is why I've told people before when they always say, like, my liberal friends, when they say, well, we have to vote for Democrats because they're going to protect us. Really? Did they protect us from Roe v. Wade being overturned? Have they protected us from the police? Have they protected us from poverty? No. They don't protect us. And when I ask my friends that, can you point to one thing that shows that they do that? They can't. They can't. So let's hear what they have to say here in this clip. But again, this is why I tell people that whole lesser of two evils BS is ridiculous. Listen to what they say here about how these progressives are hijacking the Democratic Party. This is unbelievable. Here we go.
Talk to Democrats upon hearing this kind of news. It's not welcome, certainly not as just a political football, but between what's going on the border, what's happening at the gas pump, what's going on with inflation. You're seeing more and more headlines of prominent Democrats getting frustrated with the president and some looking for alternatives to the president. Don Peoples is with us right now, the Peoples Corporation founder and CEO, very big in Democratic financial circuits, but he's also his own man here and just sort of steps back to look at the problems. Don, I know you're in your core Democrat, but you're also worried as a Democrat, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm worried about a number of things. Of course, the far left, the Democratic Socialists, and others are trying to hijack the party, and that's been pulling a lot of the parties to the left. And then many of the leaders have stayed too long. Now, does that include the president? Well, I think the president, what everybody had in mind for him was he was transitional. He would be, he said it himself, he was going to be a transitional president. And the idea, in fact, that early on the primary season, when I was on your show a couple of times, I said that I thought that the best course of action was to get Kamala Harris as a vice presidential nominee and have her get ready to be president. And the challenge is right now, they're not letting her get ready or learn how to be president. And I think that is going to hurt.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. He actually thinks that Kamala Harris has a chance running for president. He actually thinks she has a chance. I want to remind you, Kamala Harris couldn't get a single delegate when she ran in 2020. He actually believes that she has a chance to win. I don't know what to say. But I want to rewind, actually. There's something he said here that I want to point out about the money. Give me just a second. You guys know I focus a lot on the money.
Welcome. Certainly not as just a political football, but between what's going on the border, what's happening at the gas pump, what's going on with inflation, you're seeing more and more headlines of prominent Democrats getting frustrated with the president and some looking for alternatives to the president. Don Peoples is with us right now, the Peoples Corporation founder and CEO, very big in Democratic financial circuits, but he's also his own man here. And
that part right there. He said that Don Peoples is very big in the financial circuit, but he's also his own man. You see what he did there? He's a corporate Democrat, very much involved in the financial circle. And so he added in that part at the end to make it seem like he's not bought and paid for. That's why he added in that phrase, but he's his own person. No, he's not. Don worried about money. Don is focused on getting paid. Don is focused on pleasing those corporate donors. So I just wanted to point that out because I wanted you to see how they slide in these phrases very quickly. If you're not watching this a couple times, you may not pick up on it the first time around. It's easier for you to note, like just miss it. So he's letting you know Don is bought and paid for. Here we go.
Just sort of steps back to look at the problems. Don, I know you're in your core Democrat, but you're also worried as a Democrat, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm worried about a number of things. Of course, the far left, the Democratic Socialists, and others are trying to hijack the party, and that's been pulling a lot of the parties to the left. And then many of the leaders have stayed too long.
Now, does that include?
I would say that many of the leaders have stayed too long. Sorry, but it's true. I think people like Dianne Feinstein should retire. I think Nancy Pelosi should retire. I think you need to have term limits in Congress. I think some of them have been there way too long. And it's funny to me what they consider left in the United States, because Democratic Socialists of America is not far left. We don't have an actual left in this country. We have individuals that are leftists, but we don't have a left in this country. And if you compare us to other countries, you'll see this. If you look at the politics in the global South, you'll see it. If you look at the politics in some of our European countries, you'll see this as well. We don't have a left here. Even DSA, and don't get me wrong, there's some good things about DSA, but even DSA, when you look at their handbook, and yes, I have looked at their handbook, that's not far left. Not if you compare us to other countries. So it's just funny to me. Exactly, Hugo. What far left is he referring to? Right? That's what I'm saying. What's he talking about? I want to give a shout out to Machirius 39. Thank you for the super chat. My IQ is shrinking listening to these people talk. Right? Right? Information retrieval says DSA love the ruling class. Yeah, DSA is sus in my book, man. There's some weird things that go on in DSA. I'm not going to get into that tonight, but let's go back in and let him finish his rant here.
The president.
Well, I think the president, what everybody had in mind for him was he was transitional. He would be he said it himself. He was going to be a transitional president. And the idea, in fact, that early on the primary season, when I was on your show a couple of times, I said that I thought that the best course of action was to get Kamala Harris as a vice presidential nominee and have her get ready to be president. And the challenge is right now, they're not letting her get ready or learn how to be president. And I think that is going to hurt the Democratic Party, because I don't think there's a nominee other than Biden or Harris at the point we are now. And neither one of them are electable against a DeSantis or a Donald Trump.
Dude, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, both of them, either one of them would lose to Trump or DeSantis. I'm calling it right now. I'm telling you right now. Kamala Harris can't give a decent interview because she can't answer questions. All of her interviews have been flops. All of them. I've covered them. Joe Biden doesn't know where he is half the time. Neither one of them are good choices. Neither one. Now, he goes on to say that they're not actually letting her prepare to become president. Them? Or is it just that Kamala is not a good choice? I told people this back when they decided, when he picked Kamala as his running mate for 2020, I said Kamala Harris is not a good choice for vice president. I said that. I see people saying case. Is case study here? Case study. Case study says, much love, Sabby and RBN crew. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. So it's really like laughable to me that a lot of these corporate Democrats actually believe that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden would actually win. If they truly believe that, they haven't been paying attention. They really haven't. Bad cookies. Hell no, she was never a good choice. No. No. The border is a good example of that. That's Kamala Harris's responsibility. She was assigned to deal with the border situation and immigration. How's that working out? They chose Kamala Harris so that they could have a black face in a high place. They chose Kamala Harris because they knew that that would help with identity politics for them. They could say, we have the first black Asian woman in the vice president position. That's it. Now, did they actually expect her to do anything, to lead anything? No. They just want her there for representation. They just want her there for identity politics. They're not actually going to let her lead a damn thing. That's how this works. I've seen this happen in the workplace as well. They'll put black people in these high-level positions, but they don't actually let them lead. Other people around them lead, and they just sit in the position. So there's that. Let's go back in.
Her poll numbers are actually worse than his, though. I mean, can you see Democrats rejecting the ticket entirely?
Well, I think that the president has to be crystal clear by the end of this year where he's going. I think he's got to say, I am running or I am going to step aside. And I think they've got to give the vice president.
I'm sorry. He said, I think the president needs to make a decision whether or not he's going to run. Correct me on this if I'm wrong. But didn't Joe Biden say weeks ago that he's running in 2024? Why is he trying to pretend like that wasn't announced? Why is everyone pretending like they don't know if he's going to? Joe Biden has already announced that he is running in 2024. So why is Mr. Peebles trying to pretend like Joe Biden has not made that announcement? I hope someone else notices this and calls it out.
And the opportunity to become ready to be president and to present herself to the public in a different way. I think she has been done a disservice, and I think she's done herself a disservice on how she's handled things. And so right now, she would be the alternative. I mean, the idea of rejecting and not nominating a sitting president or vice president would be unprecedented. And
well, there have been attempts in the
ultimately,
past on the part of both parties to challenge the president. Of course, Jimmy
Yes.
Carter did that with Ted Kennedy. Of course, he ended up losing in the fall anyway in a landslide. We saw Ronald Reagan almost topple Gerald Ford in 1976. Gerald Ford, went on to lose in the general election. So no matter how it works out, I guess it will be damaging to the party, right? In this case, to Democrats.
Yeah, I think Ronald Reagan, though, made.
No, he had it right the first time around when he mentioned party and then he changed it to Democrats. That's what it's all about. It's not about what is damaging to the American people. It's about what is damaging to that party. And this is the problem with the duopoly. The politicians that you have, they do what's best for their party. They don't do what's best for the voters, the people who actually stand in line for hours to check their name off in a box. They do what's best for the donors because the party wants what the donors want. The party doesn't want what the people want. You may have individual politicians that may want what the people want, but that's not what happens. It doesn't go that way. It goes the way of the party. So I'm sorry, but it seems like to me, this is just all about them trying to save face and save embarrassment. I'm also curious to know, why is it that this Fox commentator cares so much about what happens in the Democratic Party? Why? Because it's one corporate party. You see, the Democratic Party wants the Republican Party to be successful. The Republican Party wants the Democratic Party to be successful because at the end of the day, they share some of the same donors. It's one corporate party. That's why. So it's okay for them to collaborate and share donors. It's okay for them to get together and have bipartisanship, but it's not okay for us, the voters, to collaborate with people who may be on the right, on the other side, to make demands and get tangibles that we need as Americans in this country. Everybody see the hypocrisy? They do it all the time. They make a living off of it. This is the problem. This is the problem. I'm going to finish this up really quick.
Gerald Ford a better candidate.
Yes. This is just so. Do you guys see what's happening here? What that commentator is just letting you know, again, that's a Fox News commentator, is that they still would rather have someone like Biden in office for the Democratic Party instead of the progressives. Both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party hate the progressives. They don't want them there. They don't want those policies. And that's why I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Every single one of them that's in the Democratic Party in DC, the progressives, they need to leave that party. They need to leave their positions and they need to start their own damn thing. And they could do it, and it would actually be somewhat powerful because of who they are. If AOC, Cori Bush, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Jamal, well, maybe not Jamal. We'll throw them anyway. Jamal Bowman, if all of them said, forget this, we're trying to fight within this same party, Let's all band together and start our own thing. Do you know how many people, especially younger people, do you know how many people would follow them? When they have millions and millions of subscribers, do you know how many people would follow them? Bernie Sanders could do the same thing. He could walk away from all of it and say, I'm not doing this anymore. You guys are too corrupt. You know how many people will follow Bernie Sanders? But see, that's something that the Democratic Party does not want to happen. That's something the Republican Party does not want to happen. If they wanted it to happen, Bernie Sanders would have done it already. So they're still playing the same game as the corporate Democrats. They're just more careful about it. What's that, Eric? Jimmy Dore suggested we do this. Oh, they do this a couple of years ago. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. So I wanted to discuss that story because I wanted you to see the lies that they're spreading to millions and millions of people, that the reason why Joe Biden is doing a bad job is because of the progressives have hijacked the party. It's their fault. When it's 100% Joe Biden. But that's the narrative that they're trying to spin, and they're spinning that narrative on the liberal media networks and the conservative media networks. And I hope people are waking up to that and paying attention. Okay. If you want more Sabby, and you can have more Sabby. If you want more Sabby, and you can have more Sabby. I don't know why I'm singing here. If you want more Sabby, I will be live again within an hour, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be on my channel, Sabby Sabs. I have an interesting discussion tonight. So tonight I am actually discussing Anna Kasparian doubts Joe Rogan. That's an interesting discussion. And also Zeneb Day, she was a former MPP organizer. She worked with MPP. She is coming on tonight to speak out about her allegations against Nick Brana. So stay tuned for that. And then also that's going to be a heavy conversation. So I did want to make sure I end on a good note, which is the story about the Burger King employee who got some rather great news after his story went viral. So definitely check that out. I do ask for those of you that do come over for the show tonight, I want you to be mindful of the fact that, again, I'm not a judge, I'm not jury. I'm just here to present the information. And I do have information that is going to be covered tonight in reference to Zeneb's story with MPP. So that's that, guys. I hope you guys have had a great night with me. But now it's time to say goodbye to all my company. MIC, see you real soon. KEY, why? Because we love you. MOUSE. Shout out to a kid for the super chat. Fox MSM falsely framed progressive power and influence on Dems. Why? It serves multiple purposes, none to help the left. It works. Ask Fox viewers. There you go. All right, guys, peace out. Come check me out at 8 o'clock if you want to. Other than that, have a good night, have a good weekend, and keep up the fight.